Dancing the shovel. Every invented matter is an innovation, and every innovation is a path into fire. This moment's momentary indication sets the shovel to the soil, its own suggestion. The dirt upturned to become its own misguidance. Or like a hell I could have created, or did from that, but innovated to free myself from fate's own disturbances. That I put hellfire in a watering can, tilting down to pour the pour's own plan, filling failure with a variety of chances. Or shall I say a wheelbarrow of water dumped onto the hot soil's shoveled slaughter sets to seed a camouflaged resilience. What fate itself had mitigated, the fates that fate had fated, in the polynomy of many lonely dances. To know more than one knowing, in the stream of consciousness flowing, over the sword of my path's persistence. Words for feelings fallen down. Dance me with your burning hair, emotions primed through long Arabic numbers, dancing with the zeros borrowed, removing truth from its invisible hollow. But for nothing I cannot concatenate. The nothing left to the nothing right. A facsimile of time caught borrowing fate. The primitive prime of the primate. The first incarnation of these poems was performed in Bisbee, Arizona on Saturday. It was titled The Coincidence of Rhyme. The today's performance in Miami, Arizona is titled Dancing the Show. This next poem is titled Emptying My Pockets. It was the prickly side of honor to be upside down twice, two parts of a split hero, a confused uncoupling of locked-in time, hierarchy of my eponymous slog down Mission Street. And what if they had named things differently, man? I might be somewhere else. Because names have power. I'm not most people, yet I am all the same. I'm not this code as I take off my shoes, tethered to a foreshadowed syntax. As I get off the road, forgotten, begotten, not taken, infinite future forsaken, reading the tracker that you become, the writer left unsaid, no matter, she will come back here. These are not my manners that belong to my own sense of what mattered as I break from my owners, pretending to be a loner, as I sneak out of Congress, yet from this I am honored. And honor being selfless, with my pockets emptied out, and my community rushed to my head in a quickened blush, shouted, bad and good guys staring as the villain, starring as the villain, rhyming the hammer up and down like the Zimmer, Bob Dylan, the writing outed. I am not as not I am. So dark. I am not as not I am. I am not as not I am. I am not as not I am. What if there were only two colors, happy and sad, and each covering half of the world? There was red and blue, with no pink and no maroon, and nobody knew what okay knew, who had come from another world. Or how in their travels from so far were they ever to say halfway there? Or how could a they be a they when there was only red and blue and no possible hue to be joined together like purple, though some would only see gray, in a world where this purple was possible? so happily and so sadly, populating their lonely planet, so shallow and disturbed. What if only there were two colors, happy and sad, and each covering half of the world? So darkly and superficially, so darkly and superficially, so darkly and superficially, I am not as not I am. The forbidden future. A wood box below the old summer dump where the resort dumped its trash decades back, capped to the ground, peeling colors of paint on its wood planks under the flank of tall sumac, but for the cold winter to come, cover in snow, 6 more feet of shadow the old box could hold. Six decades of campy trash plotting the land, a conspiracy of barrels unloading, an innovation no one thought was wrong. Like religion invents rituals of blood while the monks come and go unseen. Black and white with knowledge, whips in hand. The trails and steep sandbanks were where bulldozers scooped up the sugar sand to cover over each summer levee of beer cans and guts. I should have known the reach was much further. I might have worked harder. I might have brought a shovel to turn the stratum deeper. Staccatoed holes of soil sifting emissions. I remember a 1-pint flat-top Gold Coast beer can, and even more rusted the crumpled and overgrown frame of a Model T sedan, and the leeches with orange bellies which filled the nearby pond, who are all just gone, and an extinct species now. So I kicked over the wood box that sat there strewed into all the other trash, revealing a skunk. Its large, fluffy, and stretched up tail spraying Tommy and me back when I didn't know that I was also born to the name Thomas, also, or that my adopted family would bury my clothes. An acrid smell exploding our debauched corridor. I must have stepped on a bottle that burst with acid. No tomato juice or the lemon juice back in the fridge would neutralize this sting. All the folk tales told about what works as I threw off my hat to the woods, and the coming adolescence to stain life forever. This title is Rubbing the Sides. If that sounds funny or you accidentally laugh, my poems experiment with language linguistically on levels that sometimes are doing things that jokes do, but I'm not thinking about that, I'm just doing it. Like I'm experimenting with rhyme, alliteration, idiom, metaphor, allegory, the analogical, other noise. Other noise comes from the day, and to that end I cut away from my center's internment, out from the corner of a ringing hoop, a live chord of circular energy. Obey thy group with talismans for thy partners in crime sprees. Collective sublime guiding us internally, lifting up the externally seen, what comes to our eyes peripherally, as we travel from grain to grain like black and white photos, developed from a stranger's film rolls, recovered from a beginning's bending what the micro and macro became. Just as hummingbirds pivot, so crows lose the trees of their control. Truths hidden by foreshortening the higher plume from the sunspot's cold. More soon is the shadow's thickening of movements, of jet streams become death as the surface fills its depth, grabs a hold. Just as hummingbirds pivot, so crows lose the trees of their controls. Truths hidden by foreshortening the higher plume from the sunspot's cold. More soon is the shadow's thickening of movements, of jet streams become death as the surface fills its depth, grabs a hold. Shaking loose the dream. Shaking the universe pocket by pocket, pulling out the keys like dogs from bathtubs, reading lint like tea leaves, tracking the paw prints to the kill, telling the splatter from the forest where all is one so that the telling shakes from the voice its discontents. hangs out at the corner drugstore back when Coke had cocaine in it. The bad kids sipping at the fountain. All the floors mosaic patterns. And the good kids went to war. The extremities of good and bad, reaching to pull back the curtains and outrun the shaking wet dogs down the street into the woods, running from their rising voices. Loudly, more loudly, the girl doesn't know why the boy is raising his tone like he's angry, and he doesn't know why her tears just start happening when he could have been an opera singer. Don't break your computer with an exclamation point. Look at who's talking, they said. I'm really getting sick of my food, and people are dying throughout the consumer community. The enemy of my enemy is the people, said the king. Let's do a wide swing. We don't try to hide the curves we're given. We take them head on. We cut them off. Look both ways through the back door days. Look at who's talking, they said. I'm really getting sick of my food, and people are dying throughout the consumer community. The enemy of my enemy is the people, said the king. The children cuss and dance their necks in cartel hand signs and hip-hop voices, clapping the table, the meaning of it all like a grammar of exclamation points upside your people. The fall of gravity. The fall of gravity. Cellular These funny people laughing under the soft light bulbs, and the sacred lion's rug, fall colors. I don't know if I can share tea anymore. There is an insecurity to the leaves. There is an alien mane in the walls, like a cellar without stairs. No hatch, no December. No one knows when what no one knows will happen. A dusty breeze, the fall of gravity, its strain of the forehead speaking on a ship of stage directions, ignoring audience ignoring what's below the stage and the rafters and the raft of the unspoken suddenly disclosed. All the nervousness in the room shifted around, doorways disappearing through the chairs before a blinding sun. The fall of gravity. There are no coincidences but the thing itself. The rules provide the necessary restraint to their exception, yet indivisible become a synthesis of rule and unrule. The unspeakable demands of art, her unruly ethic, a lake swimming the fish, a lie saved for a stormy day, nibbling the hook, reflecting the barb, drip by drip, ripped from a caged mandala, sculptor of the indivisible line, tracing the leech into a parabola of black hole. Sculptor of the invisible line, tracing the leech into a parabola of black hole. The art collector walks on into the dining room, two long walls of full-on words. Yes and no, a double, a chime. The possible arrangement of random argument roll through the vestibule, an unsightly and wilting nest of roots slightly tilting. Nari forged tools turning into fracture, headwaters upstream of the cloud that fills the boat. Surrounding these wetly painted panels with slippery titles. The work ethic of dumpster diving, exegesis of existence of artist, of hoarder, shanty builder, recycler, sin eater. The long strips of maple floorboards removed from the Bisbee High School gymnasium. What to do with the hidden nails below the fragmented parts of rules of basketball court codex, thrown into a thicket of splinters and insulation board in two giant industrial dumpsters. I see these things finagling their identity into kaleidoscopy. I touch, I pull apart, I toss back in. Other lines running everywhere, crossing out the freedom to take what isn't mine, yet must become something bigger than creative bullshit.
Yeah.
There's some really good sculpture in the gallery around the corner. Storming the Rain. Oceans storm the rain, fishing painful harmony. What she says to outer space, she says to her very core. Earth ships of ice and flux unshackle their prison in a rare and violent self-surgery, raising up the intelligent ant armies. Mobile spaces of indoors, Descartes of carbureted ego, fissioning the trillion-hand march that will invent their own dimensions. I'm surveying each noble section of elevator holding water, planner of cognitive fields, geologist of swollen heartbreaks. Peeling forth the rubber papyrus, wheels of timelines down the center of the road you read through books, traveling from library to library as you wander the planet, hitchhiking its death traps, revolutionary of survival, so you could sign right here. Dancing the shovel. Thank you, ladies. Parker, synthesizer, Eric, Butoh.